What's the latest update? Come on, tell us. I hear everyone saying, well, what is the latest update? I have 2 weeks with my wife being away on some singing music business thing. How do I view having 2 weeks on my own? It's great. Not just because I'm not working, but it's having the space. Sorry, itching. Why does it always happen when I'm recording? I haven't got fleas. What isn't so good is that I am... Bloodshot eye. What goes on there? Any ideas? Don't know. Yeah, I'm stuck here for 2 weeks. Stuck. I could find some holiday place somewhere. I don't go to the hovel anymore for various reasons. Well, there's 2 reasons, but I'm not going to go into those here. I may go and visit my friend if I'm lucky, for a day at least. I may go and visit my father if I can organise that. I don't want to push too hard. If he mentions it again, I'll think about taking it up. My friend has offered to come with me, and I don't know whether that is just... whether it's because she really wants to support me through this, or whether it is some voyeuristic thing. I don't know. Or whether it's she's fulfilling an obligation in that she said she would when the idea first came up. That is an idea that's in the back of my mind that I haven't been developing. The fact that she doesn't really want to do it, but she's going to endure it because she said she would. I don't think I'd want her to go if that were the situation, if that's how she felt about it. Anyway, that may happen. I said anyway, I mustn't say that. That may happen. There may be a visit to my father in the next 2 weeks. It would be difficult to do it in a day. Well, I couldn't do it in the van. I'm not even sure if the van would make it, to be honest. But I don't have the choice. Or do I? I'd have to stay overnight, and where the fuck do I stay overnight that's not going to cost much? I don't want to go on about money, but I'm aware that I personally don't have money within this relationship, or very little. And so I don't like spending money just on myself, because I don't feel it's mine. So I'd have to stay somewhere. If my friend comes with me, I think we'd probably drive in her car. But since she used £20 of fuel to get to London. What? I don't understand that. It would be cheaper, much cheaper, probably more reliable, quicker. But she would be staying somewhere, obviously. And I know that she wouldn't have a problem with sharing a room. It's still a bit... No, it's not that it's awkward. It's a bit of an imposition, asking her to be close with me for that length of time. I may go and visit my friend, I may go and see my father. Otherwise, I'm here. And although the house is itself nice, I've said this before, the location is not good. We have neighbours on each side, and They're arsehole neighbours, different sorts of neighbours. Perhaps you'll be thinking, is it him? No, because the behaviour, the arseholery of both these neighbours is clearly documented, and it is experienced by others, or has been in the past. It just so happens that we are close and have them on both fucking sides. But their presence on both sides does really go a significant way to making this house almost intolerable. Now, that is my reaction. I'm overreacting. No, I don't think so. I am not very good, at coping with conflict and disagreement. And that's what happens on both sides. I don't want to dwell on that though. It's not particularly useful, it's not going to get me anywhere. The first full day with my wife away this time, and what have I done? Absolutely nothing. There was a lot of mess and washing up and chaos left from the last week of working. And I did address at least the washing us up aspect of that this evening, which is good, but there's still the chaos. But what it meant is I spent the whole day surrounded by this shite, this crap, this dirt and mess, which isn't going to be good for my state of mind, which hasn't been good today. I've just experienced sloth, inertia, low mood, lots of self-criticism, uncertainty, self-doubt. Could have been a time for reflection and decisions, but no, just self-doubt, self-pity, not a lot of self-pity. But I don't know where I'm going. And my confidence is possibly at a lower ebb than it has been since when? Did I have this little confidence when I was at school? Possibly. I was thinking then I would go to school and not interact with people all day, not speak very much. I would go out socialising, but I would just get very drunk. And it wasn't really socialising. Again, I didn't say much. I didn't really interact. But I was with a group of people. I had a group of associates. I was also confident enough and secure enough to take random temporary jobs, which involved meeting people and doing things in public. I think on balance I'd have to say that I've got to stop itching. I would have to say that my confidence is at a very low ebb, and although my work involves me going out and meeting people, I don't do it well. Yes, I enjoy it on some level, but I'm not particularly happy with it or comfortable with it. But I don't feel I can do anything else. So my confidence is definitely lower. So my mood might be better. I don't have the crushing, constant depression. Now, I know I've mentioned here a couple of incidents of depression, and it is there. It comes back occasionally. It's strong. But for years and years and years, it was there all the time, even when times were ostensibly good. It was there. And the lying awake for hours and hours, night after night, just awash with negative thoughts, that's gone. I had one episode in the last week, maybe. I think it was when my friend was away, so within the last 2 weeks, definitely. But that would be the first significant one for a couple of years, perhaps. Now, I could attribute this to a better quality of sleep and say that when I was sleeping in the same bed as my wife, I would every night, I think without fail, every night have the just lying awake for hours, just seeing everything bad, everything negative, centered around my life, but the world in general. Maybe a couple of years ago, within the last 2 years, I've been free of that. After a lifetime, I have been free. I may wake up at night, but I may even have the odd negative thought, but not the crushing, constant, incessant negativity. There have been changes in my life that have, I think, seen this off. And some of the changes, or the factors that behind the change, have remained in my life. Some things have increased in significance and then ebbed somewhat. More than one thing that could apply to. But no, the not lying awake has been amazing. I'd like to think it gave me more time to stop scratching. Sleep gave me more time for sleep and feeling better about myself. I do have to report, though, that my sleep is still very, very bad. I have been waking up less, again, within this last 2 years, much less time awake. But it still happens. Still virtually every night. I know, again, this last 2 years, I have had a return to dreams after a barren desert of many years, but I mentioned that before, so I perhaps won't dilate upon that. I went somewhere and I think I remembered a video I recorded which was not for here. I wish I'd kept it. I don't even want to talk about the subject matter. But that was interesting. And pointless, because you don't know what I'm talking about and I'm not going to tell you. It was just something that from my recent past, because videos have only been, again, within this last 2 years. So it would only have been within that time. Gosh, I wish I had kept it. I keep harping on about this 2 years. 2 years, what is it about 2 years? What is the significance of 2 years? Well, it is within the last 2 years. that was just a pause while I was thinking and working out timing, within the last 2 years, that I have developed a friendship with my friend, the relationship with my friend, but it is a friendship. And through that and through her, my life has changed. Or I have changed. There's much of the same old shit going on in my life, but I have changed. And I have become aware, I think, that there is more to life than doing things for other people. That my life isn't defined or given value by or through what I can do for other people. That I am important, I have value myself. Which is quite a revelation. It's something we know perhaps all the time, but to actually accept it, see what's happening, and feel that it doesn't have to be like that, that has been a revelation. It's led to problems. The realization, the understanding that I can have boundaries, that I do have rights, feelings, opinions to be considered. That revelation and a tiny bit acting upon it has been the beginnings of the decline in my relationship. Because I had spent the last trying to remember, 25 plus years thinking only about someone else and prioritizing every one of their needs over my own. And within that, having no boundaries, no privacy. Not being heard. Losing my thread a bit. So the changes in me have had a detrimental effect on my relationship. And I don't know if that's something that I can put right, but I don't want to talk about that here. I don't think that is... It probably is very relevant, but I don't want to talk about it now. One thing that has made a difference to me in this 2-year period, there are changes in me. There's my friend and experimentation with plant medicines. You know, things like St. John's wort and sage tea, you know, things like that have made a big difference. I've said before on here, and I will repeat because I know you've forgotten. Who are you? Me. I've forgotten what I've said. Addiction problems. I had 2 behaviours which I think would certainly be characterised as addictions. They would fit all the appropriate criteria. And through herbal remedies, through using herbal remedies, and maybe a change in my mind as well. They're gone. The most serious addiction, is it most serious, was the alcohol. It was a relatively low-level alcohol addiction. I have talked about this before, but I did drink every night to excess, and this has been going on, not the every night, but the drinking to excess has been going on for 50 plus years. There have been occasions when it did get a bit better, or I drink less. But even then, when I was drinking less, it was an outward thing, and I would still have been drinking on my own. Although I might only appear to have a glass or 2 glasses of wine an evening, in fact I would have drunk, well, much, much more than that. Still much less than I drank when I was younger. But then I had longer breaks between. I probably drank more, bigger volumes, but less often. And so it has in recent years, past tense, had in recent years come to be that I would drink less, but much, much more frequently. And then I would still have like binge periods if I was, I guess with my wife, but more particularly if I was alone, then I would get very drunk night after night. But that stopped. The the craving just disappeared almost overnight. And I think I've had 2 moments when it has shown an inclination to come back. It's gone on for 22 minutes. It doesn't matter because no one's going to watch it. It's easier to upload if it's in pieces, because uploading 23 minutes means I'll be without internet for, I don't know, a day and a half. I'll carry on. Yeah, drinking. It's gone. Just like that, suddenly. And I haven't missed it a bit. Not for a moment. However, and there's always a however, isn't there? There have been 2 occasions when I have felt low. I've been, I hesitate to use the word depressed, but it is a little bit, feeling a bit negative, depressed and negative. When I have thought, drink alcohol. Times when, in the past, I would definitely have got very, very drunk. I used to, this is going back, when it was a big part of my life. Not the teenage, everyday part of my life, but when I was older, with a job and all that sort of stuff. And it was a problem. I would shop once a week, and within that shopping I'd buy alcohol and orange juice. The idea being that I would drink a lot of orange juice, vitamins and healthy and all that stuff, and fluid. And I would get home. Would I cook? I'd just start on the alcohol. Then by the end of the week, I would probably have had to top up the alcohol during the week, but I'd still have the orange juice untouched. And I wouldn't have drunk much water at home. I hadn't thought about this, so I'd just been drinking alcohol all week. That was my main fluid intake. But that level of need had, past tense, it had carried on up until within this last 2 years. I was drinking less, generally getting less drunk, but I was drinking more regularly every day. Then it stopped. I can't tell you how good that felt. It's one of those things in my life, along with becoming a vegetarian, walking out on the family, one of those things that has made me feel so good, so positive. I wish I had some advice I could give to everyone who's listening out there who's struggling with an addiction of whatever level. I wish I could say, this is what I did. It cured me, and you can do it too. But I can't. It was definitely the herbal medicine that made a difference. It was probably influenced by knowing somebody who had a completely different viewpoint and attitudes that I found absolutely inspirational, and I still do. That was a part of it, although I still think it's the herbal medicine that's done the trick. Try it. I can't guarantee it'll help, but it may do. There was another principal addiction which has been addressed. It's not as physically damaging, but possibly at least as damaging mentally as the alcohol. And that went. Not as completely as alcohol, and it has come back. It's remained at a very low level with occasional outbreaks of addiction. But again, I'm very glad that's gone. In some ways, I wouldn't want that one to go completely. I prefer it to perhaps change or be directed somewhere else. But I do feel that if this second addiction goes, then there will be something lacking, because I think in itself the addiction is making up for a lack of I am losing my words. The second addiction is, in some ways, I think, compensating for something that somewhere I'm failing in my life. And if the addiction were to go without healing in the other area, then I would feel that a large part of my life has gone. Not explaining that. I could if I went into more specific details, but I don't really want to do that. The point here, when I started 20 minutes ago, was that addictions have been addressed. And it's great. That's definitely clapping. I could even put the phone down and have a quick clap. That is one of the greatest things in my life, having shed addictions. Okay, maybe there are other addictions, or certainly other issues that haven't been solved, but as I said, with the alcohol, it was like a huge weight being lifted from me, my shoulders. Possibly through not having the alcohol, I now rarely have indigestion. the lying awake for hours and hours at night was made worse. I don't think it was precipitated. I don't think so. But made worse by the indigestion, which was there all the time, all day, every day. Indigestion. Worse at night, because I'm lying down. And that had also been going on for many, many years. But that has virtually disappeared. And when there has been indigestion, I have been able to clearly relate it to something different I've eaten or a way I've eaten differently.